Victor Hale, the millionaire CEO who had built an empire from nothing, was known for two things: ruthless decisions and absolute trust in his inner circle. Tonight, he sat at the center table of the most luxurious restaurant in the city, preparing to sign a contract that would expand his company internationally. Across from him sat a foreign investor, calm, smiling, confident. And standing slightly behind Victor was his personal translator, a man who had worked with him for 5 years. Loyal, precise, invisible. Or so he thought. The deal was worth $200 million. One signature. That was all. The restaurant was silent except for the soft clink of glasses and the low murmur of formal conversation. A waitress approached the table to refill Victor's wine. She looked ordinary, mid-20s, calm eyes, steady hands, but as she poured the wine, her hand paused for half a second. Her eyes shifted toward the translator, then toward the contract. She leaned slightly closer to Victor, and in a whisper so soft no one else could hear, she said, "Your translator is lying." Victor didn't react immediately. He didn't look at her. He didn't blink. He simply held the pen above the paper. The translator continued speaking smoothly, relaying the investor's words. "The terms are exactly as agreed before, Mr. Hale." The waitress stepped back as if nothing had happened. Victor slowly placed the pen down. The investor frowned slightly. "Is something wrong?" The translator smiled politely. "He is just reviewing the final clause." Victor finally looked up. But not at the investor.HE, the waitress. She avoided eye contact and moved to another table, calm, composed. Victor turned back to the translator. "Repeat what he just said," Victor requested quietly. The translator translated. Victor nodded. Then he turned directly to the investor and spoke in fluent Italian. The investor's face changed instantly: shock, confusion, then anger. Because Victor Hale didn't need a translator, he had learned Italian years ago while expanding his first startup. He had kept it a secret. And what the investor had actually said was not what had been translated. The real sentence was, "Once he signs, the hidden liabilities become his responsibility." But the translator had said, "The partnership protects both parties equally." Silence fell over the table. The investor slowly stood up. "You understood everything?" Victor's eyes shifted to his translator. 5 years of trust, 5 years of confidential meetings, 5 years of loyalty. Or betrayal. The translator's face turned pale. "I can explain." "You already did." Victor interrupted coldly. Security was called quietly. The investor began apologizing rapidly, blaming miscommunication. But Victor now knew something deeper was happening. This wasn't a simple mistranslation. This was intentional. The waitress watched from a distance, her heart pounding. She hadn't meant to get involved, but she recognized the foreign language. She was an international law student working nights to pay tuition. She had overheard similar contract tricks before during her internship, and when she heard the investor's real words, she couldn't stay silent. Back at the table, Victor leaned back in his chair. "How much were you paid?" he asked the translator calmly, and no answer. That was answer enough. Security escorted both the investor and translator away. The restaurant slowly returned to life. Whispers filled the room. Victor sat alone for a moment. Then he gestured for the waitress to come over. She hesitated, but walked forward. "Why?" he asked simply. She swallowed. "Because it wasn't fair." Victor studied her face carefully, and no fear and no greed. Just honesty. "You realize," he said quietly, "you may have just saved me $200 million. She gave a small, nervous smile. "I was just doing the right thing." Victor nodded slowly. "Most people," he said, "would have stayed silent." She looked down. "Most people are afraid." Victor stood up. For the first time that night, he smiled. "What's your name?" "Sophia." "Sophia," he repeated thoughtfully. "Do you like working here?" She hesitated. "It pays the bills." "And what do you want to do?" "I'm studying international corporate law." Victor let out a soft laugh. "Of course you are." 2 weeks later, an announcement shocked the business world. Victor Hale canceled the foreign expansion deal. His former translator was under investigation for corporate fraud, and a new junior legal advisor joined Victor's company. Her name was Sophia, But that wasn't the biggest surprise. The company's annual conference. Victor told the full story publicly. He ended with one sentence that went viral online. Never ignore the quiet voice in the room. It might be the only honest one. The clip spread across social media. Headlines read, "Waitress saves CEO from $200 million scam." But Sophia didn't see herself as a hero. She had simply refused to stay silent. And Victor? He learned something that night no business school ever taught him. Trust should be earned daily, and sometimes, the person serving your table might be the one protecting your empire.